Hello everybody, I had a new gadget arrive in the post today, so I thought I'd do a little review for it. One of these little widgets, which is a carbonation cap. So yeah, let's see what it does. Right, so what we've got here is basically a threaded cap, so it's threaded on the inside there with a ball lock valve on the top, same as you have on the top of your corny kegs, and you can use this to do a few different things. The main reason that I've got it, and the reason that it's now got a little bit of beer line attached onto the end, is so I can use it to counter pressure fill plastic screw top bottles like this one off of the keg, hopefully making a lot less mess than trying to attach tubes and so on onto the normal taps and trying to fill it that way, which I've done but wasn't very good at. So this way you can use it as a counter pressure filler. I've already watched the video by Homebrew Chris on how to do that, so thanks for that video, Chris, and yeah, hopefully that worked well for me. You can also use them as carbonation tool as well, so you can kind of quick carbonate beer or any other liquid, I guess, with this in the same sort of way, except you'll be have the liquid or beverage in there already, and then apply pressure to it and shake it up to get the CO2 in there. And another thing you can do with it is use it to force pressurized cleaning fluid or star sand or whatever you're using through your beer lines as well. So I'm gonna go through those different things that you can do with it today and just sort of review how it goes and yeah, talk about that a little bit and show you how it works. As I said, there's quite a few videos out there that already demonstrate how to use these things, so this is more just a review to show you how useful I think it's going to be to me. They're not very expensive. I think I got this one off of eBay with an extra disconnect for the valve for about 12 quid, I think, which is a reasonable price. You will have to get some extra bits, some extra disconnects and some pipe and stuff to use it for counter pressure filling, but again, it's relatively inexpensive. So let's get on with it and see how we go. Right, so let's try out the counter pressure filling first of all. The bottle's sanitized as per usual, just with star san, and the cap itself and the tube have also had a dunk in there. I've taken off the gas in on one of my kegs, and I'm just gonna basically pressurize the bottle with that. So that'll only take a second, and then we're gonna vent off the gas, do that another time. So we're just purging the oxygen out of the bottle there. In fact, if I just connect it and loosen it off a little bit, that will probably be easier than removing it repeatedly. So that should be enough. Okay, so we also now have the bottle pressurized, which is where the counter pressure comes from. And what we're going to do now is get the extra attachment that we need to make out of those spare disconnects and use that to then fill the bottle up with beer. So bear with me a minute. Okay, so here's the extra bit of kit that we need to do the counter pressure filling. It's basically just a bit of beer line with a disconnect at each end. So one of those is going to go onto the product outlet on the keg, and the other one onto the top of the bottle. Right, so that's now attached to the keg, and then the other end is going to go onto the bottle. And because there's equivalent pressure in there to the keg, there's no beer coming through yet, but what we're going to do is just loosen off the cap, and then as you very gently release the pressure, you should see the beer starting to flow into the bottle without foaming up or having to go too slowly. And it's working. just like it did in the other videos that I watched. So again, thanks guys for the little tutorials on how to do this. I'm impatient, so I'm just going to speed that up a bit. Looks like you can get it going pretty rapidly without, again, any foaming issues. And then just before we get up to the top, we will seal that back up. And then we can disconnect our beer line. Looks pretty good to me. So we've got our filled bottle, we just now need to cap it. So if we just take that off, we can release the pressure there again without too much foaming, and quickly screw the top back on before we've lost all that lovely carbonation. You can see it is now fizzing up in the bottle, so there's plenty of CO2 left in there, and that should have a nice carb to it when we open it another time. So that's worked great. I think that's really easy to use. Very happy with that. The main reason I got it was obviously so I can fill bottles up off the keg. You are clearly limited to screw top plastic bottles when you're using this, but to be honest, I'm mainly going to be filling bottles off the keg in order to send them out as beer mail, so that's exactly what I want to use it for. I'm not fussed about filling glass bottles off of the keg. Probably not interested in buying beer guns or any of that sort of kit, so that's doing exactly what I want it to do and appears to have worked really well. So first stage is success. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to try out is basically using this as a kind of cleaning device to drive Star San, in this case, through beer lines, but I'm also going to use it to clean out the tubing that I've just used for the counter pressure filling, because that's all full of beer as well. So I've got half filled bottle of Star San with the cap on there. If you've got all your kegs full of beer and you haven't got any way of cleaning your lines, but you've not used the taps for a while, this could be something that you might want to do to clean the beer lines when you aren't able to feed Star San into the system via a keg, and it should be fairly straightforward. So first of all, I'm going to pressurise this again. No need to purge the oxygen out of it, because obviously we're just using this for cleaning at this point. Now if we want to run this through one of the beer lines, we'd obviously want to then disconnect our beer line from the keg, attach it onto our bottle, and then hopefully, if we just, hang on, I need something for this to go into. Hopefully if we just run this through, it's going to clear the beer out of the line, and you can see Star San is running through the tap. Now looking at how quickly my bottle's running out, it would probably have been a good idea to use a slightly bigger bottle with some more cleaning fluid in it, but other than that, it is working okay, and the pressure has also run out fairly quickly there as well. So, but it's run half a bottle of Star San through there and cleared all the beer out. So for a quick flushing through of the beer lines, that's worked reasonably well. Okay, so if you remember the little disconnect beer line that we had to do the counter pressure filling earlier, that's actually still got a load of beer in it. So again, I'm just going to use this to flush that through, make sure it's nice and clean for the next time I want to use it. So I've just put some more Star San into there and pressured it back up. I'm going to use my finger to press in the pin inside the the other disconnect, and you can see we're just flushing that through now, and that's worked a treat. So nice, quick, easy way just to clean up the equipment there. So as I said, the bottle of fluid there probably was a little bit small. I think maybe if you put more pressure on it as well, and a larger plastic bottle with more cleaning fluid in it, you could do a more thorough wash through for the beer lines. But the just to wash through that little bit of pipe with the disconnects, that was perfectly adequate. So again, that worked really well, quite easy to do, pretty happy with that. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to try out is basically using it to carbonate something, which is kind of the main thing it's been designed for, I think, but probably what I'm least likely to actually use it for. So essentially, if we put this bottle under pressure, this is just water. I don't have any flat beer knocking about that I can test this out with, but in principle it should work essentially the same. So just a little bit of water in there. I left a little bit of headspace in the bottle because I figured that maybe if there's more gas in there, it will carbonate more readily. The liquid needs to be chilled. This is tap water, which is reasonably cold but not super chilled at the moment. And I have disconnected the kegs from the gas lines and set the pressure on the gas bottle to just under 40 psi. So we're going to inject some CO2 into that, give it a shake, and then probably repeat that a couple of times and see if we end up with some fizzy water. Hopefully with that extra pressure, this bottle's not going to go off in my hand like a grenade. Okay, so that's a very solid bottle there. Going to give it a shake. That should get a lot of the CO2 into solution in the liquid, and you can actually feel the pressure coming off the bottle. So that was rock solid a minute ago. CO2 is dissolving into the liquid and the bottle's getting squishier, so you can see there how much the pressure's actually reduced. So that's definitely going to be worth another squirt of gas. So I reckon if you just keep doing that until the bottle won't get any squishier. So again, the gas is definitely dissolving still into the liquid. I might end up with some extremely fizzy water here, but it was rock solid a minute ago. Let's give it one more squirt of gas. Yeah, that's holding the pressure a little bit more now. So a slight bit of give, but I can still feel that's pretty well pressurized. So let's open this up and see if we have in fact got ourselves some fizzy water. Looks like it. Got a fancy gin glass to pour it into. There you go. That's definitely carbonated. You see those bubbles? Yep, tastes like fizzy water. Not massively fizzy. I think letting the gas off straight away like that probably releases a lot of the gas, but you can see there's definitely carbonation in that. So it works. Obviously putting that back in the fridge and chilling it down would probably help for it to hold the carbonation a bit better. The same for beer or whatever you're trying to carbonate. As I said, I probably wouldn't really use that for beer because I can't really foresee many situations where I'm going to be that desperate to instantly carb the beer up unless I really, really want to try a beer straight out of the FV with carbonation. But you know, usually you want to let it condition anyway for a bit. So, but it works, does the job. So if you do want to do that, it's just a really good gadget, I think. All in all, it does all the things that it purports to do really easily, and it works well. So yeah, that's a good buy. Gets my thumbs up.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you Duderino.